Okay.
But yeah, that threw us off a couple of years ago when they started coming through that way. When
Wisconsin.
news press, yeah, the news press got bought.
Okay.
You talk to the editor, talk to people.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Now, any public comments on the assessment levy itself? Now a motion to close.
Motion to close the,
Second motion.
I have one thing to say real quick.
Let's get the second first.
second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Jeff, you're on.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Just to make clear to everybody out there in TV land, the assessment has nothing to do with the golf course. I don't know how many times that I've had that question over the years in the pro shop. The assessment has nothing to do with the golf course. The golf course is a standalone business at this time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Now,
Today.
the assessment has in the past had a little bit to do with the golf course.
Yes.
Because there was a bond we all paid.
Yeah, that
So
assessment.
It was a valid question
That just
for
got
about a 10-year period.
Period,
It
right.
was.
Well, 7 years, excuse me, or whatever it is.
Jeff, it just dropped.
You're about to
off.
ask for another one in a year or two, so.
Yeah.
No.
But this assessment has nothing to do with the golf course.
Right.
No, we're not gonna go to the community for that, I hope.
So is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion to adopt the resolution.
I second. Oh, Phil seconds. Kalalo?
Phil got it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Right.
Okay, Tony, you're the next.
I've heard nothing, anything else checking me through.
Yeah, just need to break up the size of this file. Wants to be no emailing it.
Okay.
The developers have sold off one piece.
Right.
Mr. Joffrey's company sold off the piece where they'll call it the westernmost piece.
Right.
And I don't know what the status is with the village yet. We kept telling the village and the developers that the covenants need to be recorded, need to be part of it. And I think, I don't know if you've heard from anybody.
I haven't heard from anyone.
I don't know if you may want to check with them, because I've heard nothing, right?
Okay,
We
no.
send it off to the village, to Mary and Jim Hart to make sure that they know. Whenever I send the emails out, and I include Mary Gibbs and Jim Hart, Mr. Chaffee writes back and does not have them on the emails. So when I reply back to Mr. Chaffee or his attorneys, I always include Mr. Hart and Ms. Gibbs.
Right.
So they know what's going on. So I don't know if you want to check with, make sure.
Okay.
the status is.
Everything's going. Okay, I will check with them.
But they still don't have their South Florida Water Management permits, I don't believe.
No, they don't.
And so I'm not sure.
Where it all is. Okay.
We also have,
Tree encroachment.
Or tree encroach, yes, the tree
If you want
encroachment.
to, this is a product of Chris and I are working on it, and some of it may be redundant in going through it. I know that some of the provisions may sort of bleed over to the others, but we're trying to capture the sense of what's required from the district perspective. If anybody wants to remove a tree or plant a tree from a district property, or a district retreat. Because we run into the issue before with people removing trees and bringing their own in without any, well, they went through the process of going to the association, but not to the district. So this is an attempt to capture that, and I don't know, any comments or questions or concerns, we can just adopt it as a policy.
I have a couple comments. Number one, the second bullet. A resident will inform CDD in writing not less than 72 hours in advance. I'd like it a longer time frame. I'm thinking if somebody sends it Friday morning and, Chris doesn't get onto the email or something, by Sunday night they can take it. I think 72 hours is way too short.
So make it a week.
I was going to say make it 7 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Okay, good. You got consensus of the board, 7 days?
7 days.
that's good, because,
I mean, I can't
honestly,
expect you.
there's times if I go on vacation, I might not look at that for a week.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start somebody else looking at it when I'm gone. Sometimes
Okay.
I even log in on vacation, so it's not always, but anyway.
You'd have to cut
Okay, just double it in advance, so I'll pay Harvard done.
Okay, an email, okay. I know we had an issue, and I'm not sure where it would go in here to have a site plan to see exactly where, that we really know that it's their property, not ours, or ours and not theirs. Okay, the resident may only cut knees, roots, limbs that are on the resident side of the property line. When they send us in writing, do we want to see
I'd say a survey.
a survey? A
A
survey?
recent survey. I'd say a current survey, not less than 90 days old.
Okay.
Is typically, okay.
Okay, but only because, some of these people felt that their property went right to the water. So I'd like to make sure of that.
And it would depict the property lines and the vegetation.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other thing that I was thinking, that's our property. And I'd have to talk to the HOA. I don't know if they want to be a part of this, because it is the property. It's our property, but it's the residents' property, and they're somewhat managed.
Architectural standards.
Yeah. I'm not
We can
sure.
require, I think we can say, get their
And they have to get
approval
the ARC approval. I think they
Okay.
should.
also. Well,
I agree.
so I guess the question is, do you want them to notify the district in writing, and at the same time copy the ARC so they know what's going on at the same time?
Yes, but now the ARC only meets once a month.
Okay.
So, if the ARC had their meeting Tuesday, they're not going to have it for another 3 weeks. And we're saying that they can do it in 1 week.
So are you looking for ARC notification or ARC approval?
I think notification.
I think it's ARC notification, and I would have to, I'll check with Tammy to see how often they would accept the notification. And if they say once a month, then this would have to be, I don't think somebody's going to decide to trim their tree
Well, but then,
and do
and
it tomorrow.
again, they go down further, they can't cut it, replace it without district approval.
Right, okay.
So, that's right, I'll clean this up like this format-wise also.
Okay.
So, the consensus is that the inform district writing not less than 7, and with a copy to ARC,
Yes.
less than 7 days in advance as to intent to cut. Well, I guess is it the intent or request to cut down the trees? In other words, if the process is they submit it to us, the district has to approve it.
The district
It's
would
more
have
of
to-
a request.
Request, not an
Not
intent,
intent.
yes. I would say a request.
This may be a curveball for you, John, but would it be, are we open to doing this on behalf of residents?
I would say.
And charge them for it?
No.
Yeah, okay, that's why I
If we
thought.
cut that tree down and it hits our house and.
Yeah, okay, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah,
I'm
good
thinking like,
Well,
I'm
we
thinking like a
also-
resident.
Aren't
not a-
there limits on how high we can go?
Yes, there's
and
limits
such
to
like
what we
that?
can-
Yeah.
how high
And
we
that's
do.
why we want to have a licensed
Yeah, okay.
and insured contractor. And then the village has to approve any trees cutting down. I'm good with that.
If a tree dies, how do we prove it? It was the resident's fault.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's probably a tough one. I think that's just more there for language.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you really prove
That's-
that? you
Yeah, it's
know?
difficult to show. Again, some arborists may be able to say
You poured bleach there.
that they can look at the rest of the tree and say the tree was healthy because of it, as opposed to saying, oh my God, it's rotting on the inside. You couldn't
Right.
tell until you cut it open.
I looked at that as it'd be very difficult to prove, but you want that language in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who pays for the arborist?
They do. You do. I don't know.
My question I had down below too was on because we have a situation where somebody has trees behind their house, they're cutting them down for a reason. You know, whether it's their house, their lawn, whatever, can they, kind of mentioned this when we had this with the non-use, if they replant a tree there, will they have the same issue? So could they replant the tree somewhere else on CDD property and still cover?
That was the problem we came up with, because if they plant it someplace else, and we don't have enough trees around this lake.
Right.
But we have an abundance over on that lake, so no, I would say that the tree has to be planted in the same area where the other tree was removed.
I mean, there would be possible flexibility, but then it becomes more complicated.
Right.
Because it depends upon the development order.
Right, the development order says there has to be so many trees around the lake. I think, Chuck, I think we talked about that before years ago. Doesn't that stem towards literally having shade for the fish?
Yeah.
It's part of the lake plan. So we just talked about recently with the 4 or 5 approved types
Yeah.
and quantities, locations.
To that point, though, we do need to give them the option to replant in a different location, because if the tree dies from, let's say, like a Ganoderma or something, where they can't, by law, they're not allowed to plant it back in the same spot for 3 or 4 years, they should have the ability to move over 3 or 4, you know.
Right, within the same
Wait
area.
a minute. If the tree dies from a disease, that's nothing to do with the resident. That's, our tree just died on our property because of the disease, right?
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
So that's, this whole policy is not applicable to that.
Right.
That specific scenario. Now, if
You're
you have
right.
a different one.
Yeah, good call.
So, all right, so they take out a tree, but they're not able to replant it there for, I don't know, they can't get all the roots, I don't know, whatever. It would have to be in that area. You can't go from Lake 1 and put it over on Lake 4. It has to be within their property area.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all, we would have to discuss those things before we give them
Approval.
approval.
Yes.
I mean, so,
I have a question. Who would provide approval for the village or the board?
Both.
Well, who do you go to first? A resident?
you'd probably
A tree
come
is
here,
struck by
you'd
lightning.
probably come here first because it's our land.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
I agree.
And then
right.
the resident then also needs to go to the village?
Right, the resident has to be required to obtain village approval before removing and cutting down trees.
Once approved by the CDD, so approval from us, approval from the village.
And then they can do it.
That's not the same process as the HOA, correct? On our
No.
property? We
No,
said-
the HOA is going to be, it's our property, but the HOA needs to be notified because that's, the ARC is more notification. And they can't approve tree removal on the CDD property. That's why we're asking them to submit a site survey so that if they go to the HOA and say, I want to cut this tree down on my property, and the HOA says, well, that's not your property, that's CDD property, you have to go, that's why I've asked the ARC, the HOA, a few more alphabet letters here, to request a site survey whenever they're having a tree removal. So if I want to remove a palm tree right in front of my front door, I know that's not CDD property, but I'm asking the ARC to still have a site plan. So,
And the reason why it's important to have a survey is some people do little sketches and put
Uh-huh.
north arrows and distance, and there is no relationship
To what they actually own.
Correct.
right.
It seems to me like, just from a resident's perspective, there should be like a flow chart that a fifth grader could read and understand what they need to do.
Right.
Correct.
You know, and whether it's one that's on CDD property or maybe I know the ARC is working on some process, but it's like, it's not clear, you know, and it's not easy right
Well,
now.
the legalese can be an asterisk
Yeah.
that, you know, if you want to get into the weeds, you can get into, but I agree with you, there needs to be just a basic step-by-step.
Yeah. Here's the 7 steps you need to follow, a flow chart or whatever. I imagine we probably account for less than 5% of
Tree
the
removal.
requests that go through the ARC.
We hope. For the tree removal, yeah, I mean, so. Any other changes?
What I'll do,
Comments?
I'll clean this up, redline it, and have it in the next agenda packet,
Okay,
the board.
sounds
And I'm
good.
not good at doing flow charts, I can,
I can work a flow chart.
you've not seen me try to make boxes with the early morning.
Oh, okay, don't worry about it.
If you do this, and it's yes, and do that, it's no.
Okay, yes. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is Knight and Ryan. You all saw the email about their water. John, you're saying, John and I talked about this, that one of their,
Okay, is this the night?
Knight, yes,
So there was a meter that had, back in March, broke twice. How much water was lost, I don't know. I have no idea. 2-inch main, that feeds the meter, or the valve, I'm sorry, the valve. I have went and took the bill and I put what address is with what meter number, because every meter has a number. And I went and did that for him. Tammy was asking for that. I went ahead and on my own accord just did it because I feel like that's good information for us to have as well. So they have this, basically a bill like this, and beside each bill, you'll see the current read. That read will have the meter number and then the address to where it's located at. So I went ahead and did that for them, about a week, 2 weeks ago. Made sure they have it. I figured I'd see Tammy or somebody here tonight on this issue. They're under this, oh, we're not paying this bill. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it has nothing to do with me, but I'm just telling you, because here Anna Vivian said, hey, unfortunately, your account is not eligible for additional relief to the bills. These bills were already billed at the lowest tier base rate for the use from 8/5 through 3/1/23 for 208 days for a total amount of 3,677 divided by 7 months, which is 528.38 per month. I think it seems like they're trying to get like a credit or something for that leak, which is totally up to the district. I mean, I don't.
Chuck, I don't know where we are with this.
Typically, the relief that I've been authorized to give is, on kind of a one-time basis, an anomaly hits, somebody has a broken line, whatever, didn't catch it, you end up with an enormous bill. We can't dispute the fact that the water went through the meter, because the register has advanced, the water went somewhere.
Right.
There are mechanical meters that work on the windmill theory, so water has to pass through them to actually register. When they fail generally towards the consumer. That's the gear strip or break, and they don't advance the register. So typically what we'll do is we'll give them a relief of total consumption at the base rate. So we remove the penalty tiers. And that's where you get that significant drop in the bill, which is what they have already received. To consider anything beyond that, that's going to have to be an action of this board.
So you're saying that the amount, this 2003, is at the lowest rate?
That's the relief.
What was the original bill?
The 3,600.
3,600, so they were $1,600.
3677, and then, and then the new one is.
They had a break on their side.
Likely.
Yes.
It's just the one meter. All others were in line. And the fact that the following month after this bill, which granted it was a catch-up bill,
Right.
and there was 7 months assignable there, and it's a catch-up bill, but you notice that the next reading is right back in line with where their historical readings had been for this particular.
Right.
So
So was the break fix that caused the problem?
I would assume so, otherwise it'd still be continuing.
And it's irrigation, right?
Yes.
Irrigation.
Well, does that mean they just had a break in the line?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't operate their system. They didn't even know where their zone 8 was, which is what.
Right, no,
was
it's,
helping them
so,
out,
and correct me if I'm wrong, just like on Lancaster and Portrush, we're responsible, CDD, to repair it up to the valve, right? And coming in, when the water was going through the valve and it broke. We did make that repair. We fixed that twice. We did, the CDD, but the water was still passing through where it was at. It was right after the valve, or right after the meter.
That's your point of contact. Point of connection is the meter.
Right.
So you get on the downstream side, and that's their.
What happened beyond their meter? You were feeding that much water in, and there's a break somewhere beyond that meter.
It broke right beyond the meter.
You've seen the break?
Oh, yeah, we fixed it twice.
Okay.
Oh, you fixed their break on their side of the meter?
We fixed it, yeah. Well, because it was basically the fitting going into the meter, and then right after, it's kind of like the same theory with the homeowners.
Yeah.
That's what we decided, we're responsible, even for that fitting that's in the,
Well, I can't understand what caused it to break twice.
So,
For the first time.
sometimes when they come out, they abruptly 90-degree short. Depending on how close you are to the pump house, hammering water lines, it's a dead end, it's at the very end of the street. It's going to take a lot of hammering from, pump cycle, and it just happens. And we're 30 years in this system.
I'm talking about the homeowner's house, the house.
Same thing, typically on the homeowner side, it's a male adapter that goes into the blue handout. That's what typically breaks 90% of the time.
Is that above ground or underground?
Above ground.
Well, wouldn't they see water?
So at this is the last condo on Knighton on the right-hand side. It's a field to the right. The only person that's gonna see that is either that homeowner walks out and walks their dog if they have one, or somebody doing lawn maintenance, which we don't mow that. That would be Pinnacle. So I think that's what happened. Pinnacle seen and said, hey, you guys got a leak out here. I'm shutting off.
After 6 months?
It wasn't 6, no.
It was only 1 month.
This happened back in March,
Okay.
but remember, we were having the meter issue from September, and so it happened during that time.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. I didn't know what they were asking for, but I didn't realize that they were billed at the lowest tier grade
Yeah.
for the water that went through.
Entire consumption for the 7 months.
Oh, okay.
So,
So, probably what we shouldn't have done was actually fixed it. We should have just notified them that it was on their side of the meter for starters.
Right.
So fixing it and then having it fail again a second time around, maybe that adds some more consideration. Maybe you just want to split the baby on the reduced bill and
So-
it's as far as we can go with it, I don't know.
I guess there's no fail-safe on our side when water's continuously flowing into a residency.
Right, right. I mean,
Because that's how
This
What-
is
what I-
this is
what I
actually,
may have-
this is the association.
Yeah, what I may have suggested, depending on the severity of the leak, is maybe you shut down the curb stop on our side of the meter. Let them know that they've got a serious leak and they need to get it repaired, and then we can turn the curb stop back on after we get notified.
those meters don't have that. It's a different style meter. It's a much bigger meter. Like the homeowners, all the homeowners have a curb stop. These don't have that.
These are the masters.
These don't have they don't even have a master valve
You
behind
have
them.
a valve behind the meter.
We have to shut the water down to the street.
Wow. At some point, we may want to retrofit those.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So, all right, I'll make a motion to knock it down to $1,000. $1,339, whatever, we knocked $1,000 off.
I second.
Okay.
But we gotta give them a reason why, because they're gonna, right?
All right, well, we can split it directly in half if you want to.
We can,
Give them $1,000 off, and we will tell them that, we fixed it twice. At the $2,003.39 is the lowest rate.
Then we can say that the other half is for what we would charge you to fix it in the first place.
John, I
Okay.
think
We
if it
should,
happens,
from moving forward, you're gonna have to
Right.
pay the repair bill.
I think if it happens again, shut it off the damn street.
That's what we're.
Yeah, and that's what we'll tell them, that we're shutting it off.
As Chuck and I mentioned, the district shouldn't be engaging in repairs on their side.
Yeah,
exactly,
That just all of a sudden puts us in the
But
middle.
we gotta stop the flow into the
Yeah, stop the
meter.
flow,
Yeah,
let them
you
fix
can't.
it.
Shut the street off.
Shut it off and, yeah. So,
Yeah, while it's off, put the valve in.
But a good call, yeah.
okay, Tammy did call me today, or emailed me and asked me if I could let her know the resolution of this.
Well, I'm actually going to, we'll run it back through the proper cycle, so I'll reach out to Anna Vivian.
Okay.
Tell her the action that you all took today.
Okay.
And she'll communicate that out to Tammy with the release bill.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so to reduce this by $1,000, can I have a motion?
Got the motion from Chris.
Chris,
There was a second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right, so I will let her know that she will get written notification of this,
Yep.
and they will get it billed. Okay.
Close enough.
That was good. Okay. The financials.
Done it yet?
Who's ordering dinner?
Dinner, I'm gonna, just gonna go for breakfast. Yeah, let's order dinner.
We're all going to Denny's after this. It's the only place in the-
That's right. Oh, Duffy's.
Waffle House.
Well, they close at They close at 11, we won't make it.
We better. Okay.
Chuck, how are we on the irrigation fund and the catch-up of back payment?
We are getting caught up. So.
And we are only about, I'd say about 15 to 20 meters away from being caught up with like bad meters, zero consumption. Meters that got us so out of whack, we just had to replace them just so we could start having better baselines moving forward.
Now, who's reading them?
Right now, last month it was Lee and I.
Okay,
So this month it'll probably be leaner, or just
Okay.
lean.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, Lee's good at that.
Yeah, no, he's,
Okay.
So the accounts receivable is 79,634. It'd be interesting just to see an aging on that, maybe in the next month's back.
Okay. I'm sorry, you get a total cash last month. You got that from the last week
Yeah.
from Roy? I'm sorry, I'm
It
just,
was right at 300,000.
okay. So here, I'll get that chart out to you. Do we have any questions with the financials? The air condition, you said, has not been capitalized, John?
yeah, if you see under building maintenance, they got put in there, that 9363 or 6, I forget what that number is. Yeah, that's the AC.
Okay.
That needs to get, I'll send an email to Pinder tomorrow, and Lucy, should I copy Lucy on that?
Yes.
And put Lucy on that, yeah, about getting that capitalized.
Okay, John, did you, what are you doing the floors?
Still waiting on that. I've reached out to a couple people, I haven't heard back. And you gave me, Phil, didn't you give me a floor guy a while back, a few months back? You said you knew somebody. Can I have your contact? It was a floor guy. I thought you said.
Did I?
Yeah.
I gave you a couple, but Chris,
You did or you will?
I did.
I don't know if we're, what are you doing? Office?
Offices.
Yeah.
We got to do some drywall, some baseboard, and then some flooring. Now that we got the new AC, it's not leaking anymore.
Okay. We're gonna
Some
paint.
new office furniture, yeah, new desks, stuff like that. Bases up wrong.
Yeah, they're like a little
It's overdue.
Oh,
long
and
overdue.
it's sagging from the books and this.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm working on that. We'll get that
Okay.
moving.
okay, very good. And Jeff, you had a question about hurricane money where it was supposed to be transferred to?
Yeah, well, it worked out.
Okay.
There was $198,000 that had been charged to the golf course and then was
That's right.
Reallocated.
reallocated.
Okay, so we're good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on any of the budgets? Financials? Okay. All right, can I have a motion to accept them?
Make that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We only have a few more payments on the sand traps.
Next February, I think, right?
Yeah.
February it's been,
February, it's done. Ooh, nice.
What's that?
The 300, was it 300,000 that we got for the sand
Ed
traps?
Harwood, that project.
Nice.
Okay.
So if you combine that,
He moved it.
that's 300 a year?
He did fine.
No,
oh,
no, 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 no.
64,000.
It was,
Combined, they're about 375,000 a year.
yeah,
Annual,
right,
combined.
yes,
Okay.
that helps,
But those are coming off the books, both of them.
yes.
So we can deal with $450,000.
I don't know how much he's throwing in there, but
Okay.
you better start buying some lottery tickets.
Well, we're profitable at what we're doing now, so we're going
Yes.
to raise 20% across the board.
Raise rates and then,
I think Jeff will have us at a smooth 5 million by that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the rates hopefully will come down.
More hurricanes or
No hurricanes, rates coming down, all will be right with the world. Okay, let's go through the minutes.
Page one, I was actually live. I was not via telephone.
Oh, that's right, you were lying to me in person. You were on.
Yeah,
Did that would change the box at the bottom also on the motion?
Yes. Yeah, because Mr. Brady seconded the fact that he was,
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even catch that.
And then line 34 too.
Supervisor's Brady.
Must have been doppelganger.
Yeah. It was nice that you could be on the phone and still be here. I like it. Too bad you can't do that all the time, get all your work done in half the time. Got the tractor, I had nothing there. I had nothing on page 2 or 3. I think on line 134, I think it was me, not Mr. Adams, that did the unaudited. On line 141, Tyler, the first one is Tylor, Renaeu. Yeah, and the other one is fine. I don't have any other changes. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Great. Phil, you have anything?
No.
Phil?
We got a credit
Credit from?
from Juniper.
We will, yes.
When?
When they're doing the other stuff, they're taking it off of that. Yes.
Standing question. by
I'm asking
Supervisor
every
Simon.
meeting.
Come on,
Push.
we will. Phil?
We'll get to that.
Alan?
No, we'll save it for next time.
Okay, I have one quick thing. I had a call from the HOA, from the community center. Someone on 9 had a golf ball go through their lanai screen, through a window, into a child's bedroom. Nobody got hurt. The question from the community center was, who's responsible for it? My answer was, you live on a golf course.
No, that's not the answer, but
But my
It's part of
recollection
it.
is that there's language in the covenants
Okay.
for the properties avoiding the golf course, that they recognize that there's hazards and risks when you're at a golf course.
Okay.
I can't remember all of them. I remember
Okay.
I went through that when I was doing the title work for the acquisition of the clubhouse.
Right, okay. So that was pretty much what
And they ain't
I,
trying to go after the golfer.
That's right.
Again, there's a warning, there's a disclaimer or warning in the covenants that say, careful, people like Tony Pierce may be out there.
okay, I just want,
technically the golfer is liable, but
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to.
Because of that warning, the caveat.
I've replaced 2 windows, so.
oh, I replaced several.
Don't you,
That was the first month I was
Some
there.
golf course communities actually require, more hardy windows and the treatments to avoid that.
Or hurricane shutters.
I've seen it on the chip before too, signing the word, as a golfer, you're signing it, you're liable for any
Is that the card when they sign up?
like this credit card receipt and stuff, I've seen it on that language before.
So I just wanted to bring that up, that was my comment, that, we are not responsible for that.
That's correct.
Okay. Chris?
I actually have something, I don't know, Chuck, did you send that
Yeah,
thing out
I did-
about the Miramar
I did
wall?
circulate it. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the hard copies. They're sitting in the tray on the printer.
I mean,
But it-
Cliff Notes, well, go ahead.
Yeah, it's actually the president of the Stony Brook HOA has decided to move forward with paying the bill to replace the wall sections that were, I guess, damaged by Dorman during the removal of the trees.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, this is-
What they've requested is that we actually pursue Dorman for recovery of that cost.
Actually,
That was it in a,
please prove, show me where they did any damage besides taking those trees off the wall that was already, we have plenty of footage, we have plenty of cameras, we have plenty of documentation on our.
that would also probably be helpful.
Yeah, we have, when I went out there, I took plenty of pictures of all that. There's not,
Yeah, I know that the representatives of Miramar also are claiming the same thing.
and I told him, I told Tammy, I said, please, if they were out there filming it, taking pictures, I said, please show us that documentation where you show us them doing that work, and we'll absolutely hold them liable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I was out there, and I specifically said to Drew and his guys, I said, hey, if you're doing anything on this wall, just be as careful as you can. I understand that these huge trees are already laying on it. When you cut them off and remove them, things are gonna,
Right.
but they weren't out there by no means, and they put everything in every section that was broke, piled up where it was at that section. That was laying around, and they compiled it all.
I would share it with the president. So,
Yeah.
Miramar's not trying to shuck responsibility.
And I was
for
curious,
all
too,
of it
because-
Because of that
Well,
one
they've
issue.
knocked on my door a few times. I've told them it's not a CDD issue. I happen to manage their CDD, so they thought that they could leverage that. I was like, it's not a CDD issue, it's an HOA issue.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure that's probably where it's coming from. because
It is
They
HOA.
claim that they saw the same thing that the HOA is alleging as well, so. If you've got some video footage, that would be.
Yeah, I'll give you what I have, where we took pictures and stuff like that. But I know that when we were out there doing it, there was a gentleman out there, like, almost like a private investigator. Looked like he was filming, taking pictures. Well, where are those videos and pictures? We'd love to have them, so we could review them and say, okay, hey, you're right. But I guarantee you don't have them, because I didn't have them.
John, do you have pictures of the before?
I can show you before, how the trees were laying on it and how the...
To me,
That's all you
Chuck,
can do.
it's a left pocket, right pocket thing. Stony Brook's agreed to pay for this anyway, right? So it's like HOA, CDD, it doesn't even really matter. But like, if there's an alleged incident of a contractor doing something wrong, we just need the evidence to support it.
Right.
We can do that.
That's what I'm saying. If there's actual video footage, I would share it with the HOA. So they can.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm gonna be able to show you is the pictures of what it looked like before we started working on it.
Right.
I mean, there wasn't, any video is gonna be maybe 20, 30 seconds, if that, on the camera or phone.
If any wall fell while they were trying to remove it, it's because it was compromised from the
I'm gonna
storm.
tell you what. That wall probably needs to be replaced
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 25 years old. It's cracking, spalling. I mean,
And, honestly, I could hit it and not
yeah,
it down.
I mean,
It's just, I didn't.
So I have a
There's
question on,
517 panels on the wall. Going down our side, 158 of them are compromised visually. It's over 30%. I agree with you. It needs to probably be
It can
redone.
redone anyway.
Yeah.
Like the bulletin, don't.
and I would suggest if it gets redone in its entirety, that you go the route of vinyl. Because decorative vinyl, that looks like stone, that's
Yeah.
exactly what we did at Fiddler's Creek. We lost miles of the same concrete panel fences down there during Irma. And they turned around, they replaced them with the vinyl, and it looks so much better. And it's more flexible, so if you're doing this adjacent